You're listening to the best local sports show. Boots, Bats and Balls on Six Towns Radio.
Chills Bar, Beersley, sponsors of Port Vale content on Six Towns Radio.
I want to talk about the draw against Bradford on Tuesday first of all. The gaffer changed a few things, Griff was back in the fold. How different was it for you on Tuesday?
Wasn't that much different, to be honest. I think, when sides are coming and swamping midfields and sitting behind the ball, it's great to have somebody like Griff who's a battler and somebody who gets stuck in to try and break the play up a little bit. And, I think at times where we've played as 4-4-2 and gone at teams, it leaves us open in midfield, especially when they've got an extra man or... Yeah. The wingers bombing on and cheating a little bit and breaking at us. Griff's got that little bit of assurance in there to break things up a little bit.
Yeah, I expected Bradford to come here and be more attacking. That's what I thought. They've had a few games in hand because of cut runs, and it didn't seem so. They did swamp the midfield a little bit.
Well, I think the gaffer said after the game, they played as a compliment, playing the way they did. They were worried about what we might do, and they end up, resting the leading scorer and playing somebody in there that's going run around a bit more and try and stop us from playing. And that's what teams are doing, and everybody's doing it now. They're all playing like a 5 or a dropped in striker, because at the end of the day they're happy with a point. Whether we've played at home or away recently, every team's happy with a point. I think on Tuesday night their goalkeeper was trying time waste after about 15 minutes, and that's against a side that have just reached a League Cup final. So you've got to take some positives from the result. And I probably could have had an hat-trick on another day, and it's one of them where earlier in the season I'd have probably took the match ball home.
Yeah, I thought that. I was just going to say, the chances that fell for you on another day, you'd have put them away, but not to be. But it's one of them things. Vale's start to the season was that good, and that momentous, it's kept you up there. But there has been teams who've come into a bit of form at certain parts of the season, then it's gone away. Like Gillingham's form keeps going and coming back, doesn't it?
Well, I think with this league, anybody can beat anybody. It's not a Man United against Wigan, or like 99 times out of 100 the game beat them. This is a tight league where, like I say, sides sit off and defend and counter-attack, and earlier in the season we were just out working and had too much pace and too much power for them, and now, like I say, they're changing their shapes to stop us and try and hit us on the break, and it's difficult to play against at times. We've certainly struggled of late with it, but hopefully we can come good again. It's all about consistency now. The most consistent team out the top 7 will be in the top 3 at the end of the season.
Yeah, it was quite disappointing with the crowd as well. You think with the team sitting second in the league, it would have been a bit stronger, but there was Man United, Real Madrid on as well. That could have kept a few people at home on the settee.
Well, yeah. When there's big games like that, it's always having an effect on the attendance. Doesn't help with it being a cold Tuesday night either. But, for the fans, like I've said, it's nervous times now. You're getting to the last 10 games of the season. The club haven't had a promotion for God knows how many years.
19 years, I think.
Well, that's what it says. I'm sure there's plenty of people on the stands that have weren't even born when that happened. So it's getting interesting. I don't think it's fans not having helping to an atmosphere or being negative. I just think nervousness is kicking in, and I'm sure there's a lot more fans biting the nails at games now than they were early at the season.
Yeah, Griff coming back, has he been relaying tales of League One to you?
Not really. He's a down-to-earth lad, Griff. He doesn't say much at the best of times, to be honest. Normally when he's talking to me, I'll punch your head in a minute or something like that. So, he's a great lad, and, it's something that we need. I think, like you say, when teams are playing 5 and you're getting overrun, he's the kind of player that you want in there to shut up shop, basically, and break down their threats from counter-attacking on us. It's very rare he gets over the halfway line, so And when he does, he normally gets a nosebleed. So yeah, it's going to be interesting towards the end of the season. We're going to win games, we're going to lose games, but hopefully we can have that consistency that can see us through.
Yeah, another international in the team, because you've got Duffy, who's had a Welsh cap or two, and Birchall's just been called up again for Trinidad, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's good news for Birchie. He's obviously played in the World Cup and what have you, and played a few times for Trinidad. So, it's good for him to be back in the scene internationally. So, yeah, he's a good lad, and he fully deserves it. He really is a top professional and a top lad to play with.
With a few injuries now and lost suspension, you might see him coming out in these next 10 games. I think he's only played something like 22 minutes this season, but that's because it's been difficult to get into the first team.
Well, I think, the gaffer's said all season that the whole of the squad's going to be used at some point, and, every single person will have a part to play between now and the end of the season. Lofty's obviously out for 3 games, Beardy was ill Tuesday night. There's been players with sickness bugs over the last 2 weeks. Willow, Husey, Jonesy the other day. So everybody's going to be. You've got to be prepared for anything, and just because you haven't been playing recently, you've got to keep your head ready, because one bad performance or somebody getting injured or suspended and you're straight back in the reckoning again.
Next game, of course, is Southend, Paul Sturrock's team on Saturday, sitting just below the playoffs, aren't they? So again, they're going to come here, try and get at least a point, aren't they?
Well, they will. I think every team in the league that will look at Port Vale, and if they can take a point back with them, then they'll do that. But I thought Bradford would probably come at us a little big. They've got to start winning games, try and get in the playoffs, and Southend have got to do the same. So, hopefully they can come at us and be bold from the start, and that'll give us a little bit more space to play to our strengths and get at them. I think, like I've said, it's been difficult of late playing against sides that are sitting and waiting counter on you. So we've just got to be patient. We've just got to keep working for each other like we did on Tuesday, and hopefully if the chance fall my way again, then I can put them away this time. Yeah,
you've said there as top scorer, it doesn't really bother you as long as you win games, and you'll stand by that, won't you, for the rest of the season if you never scored again?
Well, of course I will. If you could tell me now I won't score again and the club will get promoted, then I'll take that all day long. It's not about individual honours or awards. It's all about this club getting promoted. To think that we've worked so hard and had a tough pre-season and not getting paid, and then being an admin and not knowing whether you were going to be paid, and everything that's gone on to be in a position where we are now with a chairman and everything else. Everything's going right, and we just to not be able to see this through, being in the position that we're in, it'd be devastating for us.
Yeah, it would be. And with the goal scoring, there's come quite a lot of media attention. How have you coped with that? Because I've seen that you're all over the place, magazines, TV, radio.
Well, I haven't seen any of them, that's the truth. There's been a few now telling me I've had a mention in this and a mention in that, and I haven't seen anything. So not a lot really. I don't try and pay attention to it, to be honest. I just try and I'll do my media here when I have to, and that's basically it. I think if you read too much into things and what have you, it can start playing mind games with you. So I just try and concentrate on my football, do my media with you, Lauren, answer your questions, and that's what I like to do. I hate doing interviews at the best of times. I don't sound the brightest of people coming across on the radio, so I do get a little bit embarrassed, and it is quite cringy doing interviews, and certainly with people you don't know. You feel a lot more comfortable with yourself and the Sentinel and what have you, but when you're doing interviews with people you don't really know,
you don't know what's coming.
Well, you don't know what's coming, so you try and not put your foot in it. You don't know what they're going to ask you, and you know pretty much what the media here are going to do and what sort of questions they're going to ask you, and you can prepare yourself. But there's been a few interviews lately where, like you say, I've had to do all sorts, and you haven't got a clue what they're going to ask you.
Thanks for that, Tom. Cheers,
no
mate.
problem.